How awkward was it yesterday when the I was doing the moonwalk and you guys couldn't hear the Michael Jackson dance? How fucking bad was that, dude? I'm watching the recording and I'm thinking that, yo, I'm getting these guys hyped, they're listening to Michael Jackson. They didn't catch anything. I looked like a fucking idiot dancing back there. It was terrible. I'm not in PJs, bro. I'm literally in like swim shorts. These are like beach shorts. Yeah. I don't know, they're beach shorts, bro. Yeah, I don't know why the audio did not come out. That was so weird. Yeah, that was terrible. I was gonna do it again today. But when I saw the recording, I'm like, yeah, I cannot risk that happening again. Yeah, that was awkward. But all right, tell me when you watch it on Instagram, it doesn't sound lit. When you have like the actual Michael Jackson song, it actually sounds good, right? But if you don't listen to the song, it actually sounds terrible. So yeah, so for those of you guys that see this in the future, have some context on why I did that. Okay, it was very bad. I was trying to do the moonwalk. But all right, cool. All right. Alex, I have a question. All right, here we go. I have a question. I had a scenario where I made a new lower low and I drew the snake. Now I became the higher high became the lower high. JR, if you watch the recording, you that will answer your question. All right, guys, just gonna turn off the chat. Thank you very much, guys, for the hype. So let's get started. Oh, I actually have to open up the chat one more time. If you guys can see my screen, type one. If not, two. Just want to make sure. Perfect. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. I will not be moonwalking again. Not for now. All right. Thank you very much. Hey, can you make sure that you upload the recording as soon as we're done with each session? Yes, trust me, I do, but it literally takes 3 hours for it to download from Zoom. So it takes 3 hours to download, about an hour or two to upload. So thank you for understanding. All right. Now that we understand, let's pick back up where we left off yesterday. So we left off yesterday on Euro JPY. No, well, technically, yes and no. We left off on this right here. So let's go ahead and start off on CAD JPY, AUD USD, and USD CAD and revisit the market structure once again. Because again, this is going to be so key and so important that we need to review it. Once we understand this correctly, we are ready for everything else. So we're going to go through these examples one more time, get everybody to understand what they did correctly and incorrectly. And then we're going to then move on to the next phase, which is going to be how to spot the market structure correctly on the charts. So there's a big difference in between the candlesticks and the line chart. Very, very different thing. One thing is driving a race car on a simulator, and another thing is driving a real race car. They're two completely different things. You're doing the same thing, you're racing, but on a simulator, you're on a simulator. The street, you're on the street. So it's very important that you accept and understand that. On the simulator, now you have learned how to properly change the gears. You've learned more or less how fast you have to turn the wheel. You got to feel for the noising, the right time to change gears, accelerator, pedal, clutch. You got the mechanism good. So when you hop into a real car, you're not completely lost. You actually have a foundation built. And all you have to do is just have some time and some experience driving the real race car to now where you're going to actually be able to go full speed, turn as fast as you want, change the gears as fast as you want, but that comes with time. You built the foundation by doing it on the simulator, and now to go on the real street and be peak performance and the best you can possibly be is going to be time. It's going to be the same thing here. The line chart is for you to understand how the mechanism works and how you can get a feel for everything. And then when you go to the candlesticks, you're going to have an idea how to do it, but it's going to take time for you to do it perfectly. You're going to make some mistakes, and I'm going to teach you how to avoid those mistakes. And if all that makes sense, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2. All right, cool. Thank you very much. All right, let's get started. So CAD JPY, CAD JPY, CAD JPY, 4-hour time frame. Whatever. Just delete it for now. Are we bullish or bearish? Are we bullish or bearish? Please go ahead and fill out the poll. Wow. 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 And you know what? I'm very fucking glad I'm doing this. I am extremely glad I'm doing this. And you know what? I'm going to take partial blame on this because so it's part of the strategy, right? Like it's part of the curriculum that I have. But I didn't think it would be this effective, which is really good. Like this is really, 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 really good. Like I am so glad I'm doing this right now. All right, 2% more to fill out the whole entire poll. Is this market bullish or bearish? The people that don't fill out the poll are the people that are asking the question. So please fill out the poll. All right, perfect. Now, this are the results. 54% believe it's bullish and 46% mean that it's bearish. Now, let me re-ask because this is not supposed to be like this, right? And there can be a couple of things that I can change in the way that I ask this question that can probably change these stats by completely. So let me re-ask this question. Is this market currently bullish or bearish? Currently, not when you analyzed it. Currently, is it bullish or bearish? Currently. Okay. 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 These are the stats, which didn't change that much. 40% believe it's bullish and 60% mean it's bearish. Now, this can mean two things. One, either I'm a fucking terrible teacher, or two, you guys just aren't identifying this correctly, or I'm confusing you with something. So I'm going to bring clarity to this right now. So we're going to start off from this point right here, just to make it simple. We're going to start off from this point right here. Right? I think we all agree that I don't have to start off all the way from over here, even though I could, fuck it, just for the examples purposes. Because I said go back 28 days. So we go here and we go left. This is actually 38 days. So if we go back 28, it would be somewhere around here. Let's just start off here, right? Let's go even further. 38 days. This would be the higher high. This would be the higher low. And I want you guys to really realize why you answered bullish or bearish as we go through these examples. Once again, I will not move out of this topic until it is not 100% everybody's correct every single time. So this is the higher low. This is the higher high. And currently we body closed under here, which made this the lower low. If this becomes the lower low, this point right here, then we have to start backtracking with the snake trick. Where can the lower high be? Because again, it is impossible to have a lower low with a lower high. That should be in your notes that you did from yesterday. We keep it going up to this point right here. We can argue that this could be where I had a sharp turn, or this one. This is where I would argue that it had a sharp turn. To me, this would not be a sharp turn. This would be a sharp turn. You want to consider a point of structure to count as a lower high or a higher low, where the market had what looks like almost a 180-degree turn, where the market literally turned away, where it literally went into an area and then it went away. Not when it went like this and then it continued to go up. There's going to be a trick on how to correctly identify this, and I'm going to explain that to you later into the bootcamp. But I just want for you to start embedding that into your head. Be realistic with what can potentially be a point of structure to count as a lower high or lower low. Now, again, I don't expect for you to get it correct 100% right now, simply because I haven't taught you how to do it correctly just yet. So don't get frustrated, be patient. So this becomes the lower high. Now that this becomes a lower high, we body closed above here. This becomes the higher high. And that becomes a lower high. We do the snake trick. I would count this as a higher low. And yes, it looks very different. And once again, we're going to explain to that once we get to that later on. This is now the higher low. We body close above here. This becomes the higher high. And then this becomes right here the higher low. We body close under. This becomes the lower low. Then we do the little snake trick. This could be the lower high, or this could be the lower high. Let's just, for example's purposes, let's just speed through all this so we don't have to go super fast. We body closed above. This now becomes the higher high. And you see this pullback. This is where it shifted. This is the higher low. Broke above, higher high. Then this becomes the higher low. Again, we're going to show you exactly how to do it correctly later on. I would not consider that the higher high. I would consider this the higher high. And I would consider this the higher low. If you guys are following along so far and this makes sense, type 1. If not, type 2. Just want to make sure I'm going at the right speed. I'm not going too fast. I don't have to break things down too precise. Perfect. Cool. It all makes sense. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Can you circle the points? You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make the lines thick. And I'm going to put the point of structure at the point at the end of the line. So you know exactly where we are, and the odds of you being confused is pretty much impossible. This is the point of structure that we're talking about. This one, it's at the end of the line, and then this one. So as of right now, we body closed above. So now this becomes the higher high. Everything in here, we did not at all shift structure because this is the higher low. Even if you were to want to consider this the higher low for whatever reason, does not change anything because there's no other structure here, and this is where it broke above. So this now becomes the new higher high. Where is the higher low in all this madness? I don't know. I get a little lost sometimes. Let's do the head of the snake. We'll do the tail, and then boom, we'll turn around. This is the higher low. That is where you have a real aggressive turn. So we get this point of structure and we'll put it right there at that higher low. So that is the higher low. That is the higher high. We body closed under. So then this becomes the new lower low. And then the lower high becomes that point right there. We body close above. This becomes the higher high. Then we close again. This becomes the lower low. Then this becomes the lower high. We body candlestick close once again. this becomes the lower low, then this becomes the lower high. Everything into this point right now, we are just consolidating, and boom, we have a breakout. This becomes the higher high. This becomes the higher low. And I know this is boring, trust me, but this is what I did for a full year to understand this correctly. So if we have to go through two-hour Zoom calls on just this, I would much rather do that than have to go through a whole year of what the fuck I did. So is it painful? Yes, but you know what else is? Or even more painful? Having to go through a whole year trying to figure this out by yourself. So so this is the higher low, this is the higher high. We body candlestick closed above. That is the higher high, the little snake trick. For now, that is the higher low. We body candlestick close under. I would not count that as the lower low. I would count this as the lower low, and I would count this as the lower high. We body candlestick closed above at this point right here. So this becomes the higher high, if that is the higher high. And we did a little snake trick. This becomes the higher low, this little point right here. We body candlestick closed under. This becomes the lower low. That becomes the lower high. And then we body candlestick closed above. This becomes the higher high. This becomes the higher low. We broke above again. This becomes the higher high. And technically for right now, just for this example's purposes, because it's the line chart, this would be the higher low. And if you notice, since that is the higher low, the body candlestick has indeed closed under of that line, making this time frame bearish. If you consider that the higher low, body candlestick closed under that, this is now bearish. Even if you don't look at the bodies on the candlesticks and you look at the line chart clearly body candlestick closed under of the structure level, making this now the new lower low, making this the lower high. Now, for those of you guys that were incorrect, and now you see why you did something wrong, does this make sense? Yes or no? Does this make sense? Yes or no? Please fill out the poll. Okay. 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 4% left, which won't matter on the stats, but just want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to vote. Okay, so there is a 94% of you guys that were incorrect. Now you understand this. And there's a 6% that don't. Now, I know I do jokes all the time and, trolls and all this, whatever. Can you 6% please be the only ones that go to the chat? The 94 that understand this, great. Thank you. Just hold off for 5 minutes because I feel like I can answer this 6%, their questions or their doubts or their concerns in less than 5 minutes. So even if you understand, just hold on for just a second. I want to get to this 6% because they're going to be the ones that are going to blow up the chat saying they don't understand. And then they kind of just mess me up from looking at the other messages that are going to be more important to the topic that we're going to be talking about next. So I don't want to move on until this is not 100%. So before I continue to the next example and we get to the bottom of why we are bullish or bearish, can you 6% please ask your questions? The other 94, please hold off. When the market shifts from bullish to bearish, does the higher high always converts into the higher low? No. Please, if you have a question, this is your moment to ask it. Why is the lower high still at the highest high? Okay, so you're asking the same question as this previous person. I'm just going to turn off the chat just for 1 second, guys. Let me just get through this right here. Why is the lower high the highest high? Because that's just the last lower high in the market. If we have a bullish market that is creating higher high and higher lows, this is the higher high, right? And if this is the higher high and this is the higher low, this market is currently bullish. If this market now completely breaks this higher low without creating a point of structure right here before creating the lower low, there is still a break of structure in the market. This still becomes the new lower low because we've broken the higher low that was here. So if there is a lower low, there mandatory has to be a lower high. And if there is no structure, so let's say that there's something like this would be the lower low and the lower high would go here. Because if you do the snake trick and you go, this is where it had the significant turn in the market. So this is where you would put your lower high, which is great because it's very clear and easy to understand. But if there is no structure in the markets and there's just something like this, there has to be a lower high because there is a lower low. So this is the lower low and this is the lower high. So the higher high becomes the lower high. And now let's say, for example, this market decides to have a push to the upside and break above this without creating any structure here. This higher high has to have a higher low. So this point is where the market had the reversal, and this point becomes the higher low. It's very simple, very easy. If this makes sense, say yes or no, because it seems like that's where the 6% of the people that didn't understand. So in this market, we'll sell JR. That's not the question that I'm asking. I'm just asking, do you understand this market structure? Okay. So now it's a 98% and a 2%. The 2%, I hope you're not trolls. If you're people with genuine question, please ask it now in the chat. Please. I just want to get across this and then we can focus on the next topic. What if the candlestick? So right now we're not talking about candlesticks, so I don't understand how you're asking a candlestick question. We haven't even shown a candlestick to one point right now. So when we get to the candlesticks, I'll probably answer your question, Avi. Alex, can we get an objective rule if it's a 45-degree angle? So Armani, I already answered that. And I said that once we get to the candlestick point, I will very most likely answer your question and how to analyze it correctly, precisely. So if the market changing from higher high to, okay, so every single person in here that has a question, it's very clear that it is in the recording. All I can say is go watch the recording because I can't afford to waste time and hold back the rest of the class. If you have a question, 98% of the class, 99% understands. It is 100% that you will understand it by simply watching the recording. Cool. So we broke down CAD JPY. Next, we have AUD USD. So AUD USD. I'm sure it is very clear what this market is. Is this market bullish or bearish? Let me see. Nope, that's not this one. Sorry. Is this market bullish or bearish? What is the market structure? Okay. So it's obviously very clear. There's 3% of trolls here. And you motherfuckers. That's all I gotta say. Fucking trolls. Obviously, you have to be like literally blind to not be able to tell that this market is clearly bearish. This is a lower low, and this is the lower high. This is the simplest and easiest example that I can get to. There's no reason for me to go through this entire market structure. It's very easy to understand this market. So this one's a lower low. And next is USD CAD. Now, if I even have to remotely ask what is USD CAD, we have an issue. We have an issue. This looks like Bitcoin right now, right? This looks like Bitcoin. And nobody in the mother is going to think Bitcoin is bearish right now. Impossible. This is obviously very clearly bullish. But we'll just do simple structure up to there. This was the lower high. This was the lower low. We body candlestick closed above. This becomes the higher high. This becomes the higher low. We body closed above. This becomes the higher high. This becomes the higher low. Body close under, lower low. This could be the lower high or this one. It literally doesn't matter because at the end of the day, we broke above it. This becomes the higher high. Do the pullback, snake trick. This becomes the higher low. Body closed above. This is the higher high. This is the higher low. We did nothing in here. Chop, 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 chop. Closed above, higher high, and this becomes the higher low. Then we body closed above, higher high, and higher low. Very simple, very, very straightforward. If this makes sense, answer this poll. Is it this one? Is it this one? Does this make sense? Yes or no? Perfect. Amazing. This is great because now this leads me to understand that we're ready for what's next. And these are the results. 2%. Oh, I'm gonna get you. You guys are gonna troll me? Okay. I got something coming for you guys. But no, back to the charts. All right, so we very clearly understand and have it very, very straightforward that, oh, I lost it over here. We have it very clearly and straightforward that in order for a bullish market, you need to have a higher high and higher low, a bearish market, a lower low and lower high. It is impossible to have a bullish market without a higher high or higher low. And it is impossible to have a new higher high without a new higher low. You cannot have a higher low with a new higher high, which is the same fucking shit. I just had to say it backwards because sometimes people ask the question backwards. When the market breaks the higher low, we are no longer bullish and we have now shifted to bearish. And it is a body candlestick closed under the higher low. It is impossible to have a bearish market without a lower high or lower low. And it is impossible to have a lower low without a new lower high. Even inside of a ranging market, there is bullish or bearish structure. Now, you need to understand this like you understand how to walk. This is how you're going to read the market every single day. Price action, market, candlesticks, live action, whatever you want to call it. What you're looking at right here is the golden nugget to the markets. So if you're ready to move on to now looking at it on the candlesticks, type 1. If not, type 2. Perfect. I have a question about timeframes in sync. We're not there yet. All right, cool. Perfect. Oh, I'm ready for this one. I'm not even gonna say a word. You know what? I am gonna strategically trick you guys so I can help you understand. I want you to make a mistake because if you don't make a mistake, you don't know what to fix or improve. If I just show you how to do it without you making the mistake first, you're not going to learn as effectively because you're not going to realize what you learned because you don't realize you made a mistake. If you make a mistake and then you come back and you fix that mistake, you know that you learned. But if you never make a mistake and you just learn something and you do it correctly from the get-go, you don't know what it's like to make the mistake and how to improve it. It's fucking crazy, right? Like, yo, this mind has to be preserved, dude. So I'm gonna make you make a mistake so you understand what you fixed. If that makes sense, type 1. If not, type 2. All right? It's fucking crazy, bro. I really sometimes be thinking outside the fucking damn box. Okay, perfect. So now that we understand that, let me ask you a question. Is this market bullish or is it bearish? Please take your time. I'm so glad this is coming out like this. I love it. Because the people that are correct are actually wrong, and the people that are wrong are actually wrong. Everybody's wrong. Which is funny. Everybody's wrong. Not one like you can't answer this correctly. You could, but you won't know how to answer it correctly. Like let's say there's a pop quiz and it's an A or B and you don't know how to answer the question and you just put A, for example, and you get it right. You got it right because there's a multiple choice, but you don't know how to actually get it right if you were to do the equation or the mathematics or whatever. It's the same thing here. The people that get it right are right because it's just simply one or the other, but you won't know how to explain how you got it right. And this is where the trick comes in. So we have 8% that's missing. People that are taking their time, take it a little bit faster. All right. Perfect. So these are the stats. 61% believe that it's bullish and 39% believe that it's bearish. Well, technically, technically speaking, this market is bullish. So 61% are correct, but you're correct because of the wrong reason. And I'm going to teach you how to fix that right now. So when you analyze the trend, and I need you guys to be hearing, right? Be paying attention, be writing things down. When you analyze the markets to understand if the structure is bullish or bearish, you're going to only ever identify if the market is bullish or bearish on the candlesticks. So we already crossed the bridge of analyzing the markets on the line chart. You will never, ever, ever now go back to the line chart. We analyzed it, we understood it. We know when it breaks above the line, it goes bullish. When it breaks under the line, it goes bearish. As long as it doesn't break in between, we know that it hasn't broken. And if I would have said these same words to you 3 days ago, you wouldn't know what the fuck I was talking about. But now you do. So you made a mistake then. And now I'm explaining to you something that only you watching this video would understand. And you 3 days ago, you wouldn't. And there's something that I'm going to explain to you now that you're not going to understand. But 3 days from now, you will. So again, please be patient and give me time. So the line chart was just used so you can understand how the market works. It's a simulation. It was basically the simulating of the race car. I'm putting you on a driver's seat in a room with a steering wheel, a pedals, and a gearbox. And I'm just explaining to you what everything is. Now, you cannot show up to the track where a real race car is the same way you showed up to a simulator. You can go in shorts, a tank top, and slides to the simulator. It doesn't matter. But you can't do that on a race car. You need your full helmet, you need your gear, it needs to be right weather. There's more things that go into play. So some things that you did inside of the simulator don't apply to the actual track. There's some things that you learned in this line chart that will not apply in the actual candlesticks. And I need you to understand that and for it to not cause you confusion. What matters from what you learned from the line chart is that every single one of these points is a piece of market structure. And every single one of these pieces of market structure, when the body breaks above or under it, it respects it, right? So we will never, ever, 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 ever go back to the line chart to understand how to read market structure, ever. It is done for. We're going to only read it in the candlesticks from this point forward. So how I'm going to explain it to you is very key for you to understand from the get-go. A lot of mistakes what traders do when they come to the market, the first thing they do is they'll look at the market like this. We're like, yeah, that market's bullish. Yep. How the fuck? You can't see anything. How can you tell? You can't even see if there's blue or red candles. How do you know if it's blue or red? How do you know if it's bullish or bearish? You don't. Some traders come in and they do this. Yep, this market is bullish. Or yep, this market's bearish. How the fuck? You cannot see anything. And some traders do this. They'll have the charts too small, like if they're scared of it, they're like far away from it, like if the markets are going to come and bite them. It is impossible. You're lying. You can't identify if the market is bullish or bearish like this correctly. You can't identify if the market is bullish or bearish correctly if you look at the whole market like this. And you can't identify if the market's bullish or bearish if you only see the last 10 candlesticks. There's a mistake there. You need to correctly analyzing the market by properly looking at it with the correct sizing. So I actually set you guys up in a good way because I made it reasonably close. When you go identify market structure, you don't ever really have to go back more than a year to understand if the trend of the market is bullish or bearish. And the key is you want to center your chart. You don't ever want to have it too far up here, like if it's going to take off to your screen, or you never want to have it too low here, like if you have to look down to go and find it. You control this chart. And the way you set up this chart is how you're going to understand and read the market. And it's so key for you to be able to read this correctly because it's the way you're going to make your decision to execute on a trade. If the way you're seeing the market is not the same way I see it, there's a problem because you can understand the strategy perfectly. It's very easy to understand it. But if you're looking at the charts far away like this, you're not going to see the same things that I see. You're looking at the markets in a completely different way. If when I teach you to go drive a race car on the track, I teach you to drive with goggles that have a protection for the wind and for the sun, you're going to look at the road very clearly. You're not battling wind like this with your eyes and bugs and the sun. You're going to see the road clearly. But if after I teach you how to do it correctly, you say, fuck that, I want wind to hit my eyes and I want to see the sun, and you take off the goggles, you're not going to see the road the same way how I'm seeing it. You're going to look at it like this. And even if I taught you how to change the gears really fast, even if I taught you how to take a corner really fast, how to brake perfectly, None of that means anything if your vision isn't clear. Your vision has to be extremely clear, because based off of your vision is how you're going to make a decision on the market. If everything up to right now makes sense, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2. Perfect. Okay. So when you go analyze a candlestick chart, I need you to look at it no more than a year. Usually I would look back at this much. And the first example, I should have actually shown you guys the chart like this and asked you guys, is it bullish or bearish? But I didn't want to make it that hard. So when you analyze if a market is bullish or bearish on the candlestick chart, you want to make sure you center it. You put it right in the middle of your screen and you control it. Don't have it too far away on one side of the screen or the other. And you want to start off from the lowest point in the chart or the highest, or the highest point in the chart. You don't need to start in the middle. You don't need to start at the very end, because you can make a mistake. You want to start all the way from the left, and then you work your way all the way to where price is right now. So some of you guys may ask me, is this considered a higher low or not? Well, is it? Ask yourself, would you consider this a higher low or not? Just hang on to that thought. Take your time with it, right? Put it in your pocket for now. For now, let's just count it, or not count it. We're just going to count it for now. Keep going. We're going to put this on every single body, every significant body candlestick closure on the chart. So we're going to go through here. We're going to go through here. We're going to go through here. Every significant body candlestick closer, we're going to be going through this whole entire market. This is how I read this market with the bodies. Now, if we were to completely switch this back to the line chart, it would tell us something very different. There's a lot of pieces of market structure that I'm supposed to be missing. So if I hover this over this marker right here, right now, technically I should be missing this higher low. So if you notice right here, I'm missing that higher low. I am also missing this higher high and higher low. And this point right here, that when I drew my line chart, I did not count it. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and this one right here. So there's this point that I did not count. There is this point that I did not count. There is this point that I did not count. And there is this point that I did not count. Everything else I counted. So when you look at it on the line chart, I missed out on this, and I missed out on these other points. So if we go back to the candlesticks, so if we just do this and do this, this is the lower high I didn't count. This is the higher low I didn't count. The higher high and the higher low I didn't count. Now, you may be asking me, why didn't you count those structure points? Well, simply because they weren't clean enough. When you're going to go mark up a higher low or a lower high, it has to be a clean, clear point of structure. Now, I've struggled in the past to explain this to people, but I finally figured out the way on how to do it correctly. To count a valid, let me just put this down, a valid point of structure to count as a higher low or a lower high, two candlesticks. So let's start off by there. So it needs to have a minimum of two candlesticks. If you notice, this right here kind of had two candlesticks. This one really only had one candlestick, and this only had one candlestick. It's like the whole move is one move. So it's just not clear. If you see this right here, we have one candlestick of a pullback and then the other one as a confirmation. If you notice right here, we have one candlestick pullback, one rejection confirmation. Looks a little bit cleaner. Here we have one candlestick of a break, one of a confirmation, and then we have the push. This is just a one candlestick, so I would not count this. So for you to count a valid point of structure to count on as a valid higher low or lower high, you need to have a minimum of two candlesticks in order to do that. If you notice right here, you have one candlestick that slows down, one candlestick that pulls back, and then the push. That's pretty valid. If you notice here, you have 2-3 candlesticks that pull back and then have a push. That's pretty valid. Now, again, with time, you're going to understand this. Now you have to unlearn on how to read the charts on the line chart and come back and read it on the candlesticks. So don't expect for this to make sense right away. I know some of you guys are beginners and you're just looking at candlesticks. Take your time. Don't worry. We got plenty of time with it. This is going to take progressive time and we're going to understand it as time goes. So the first thing to count a valid point of structure as a higher low or a lower high is going to be a minimum of two candlesticks. Now, even if those two candlesticks aren't enough, so if these candlesticks aren't enough, you look for a area of, so you look for a area of interest at these key, at this or lower high. So if these two candlesticks aren't enough, you're going to look for a key area for this higher low or lower high. Now, what is an area of interest? How can you spot that? Don't you worry. We're going to get to there in just a second. And I can't explain to you what a key level is just yet until we don't understand how to read the markets. I'm just gonna, like, I'm doing it a little bit faster because we wasted one whole day and not advancing to each point. So I'm trying to like make up for lost time strategically right now. So for you to understand what is a valid point of structure, it needs to have a minimum of two touches and it has to be at a significant area of interest. Remember, area of interest could be a level of support or level of resistance. So a perfect example of this could be this point. It has two candlesticks, but let's say it's not that clear. If you just drag a little box to the right, clearly it has support, boom, so it's valid. This point is, let's say it has two candlesticks of a pullback. It doesn't look too valid. You look left, boom, resistance. This doesn't look that clean. You have a little bit of support here, boom, it's valid. So you have to look at the market structure to understand how valid is that point. Because this happens more in the lower time frames. Sometimes you'll just have like these random little pullbacks like this one. And it can be very confusing if it's valid or not. So this is going to be valid based off of how clean these two candlesticks are and if it's at a key level of support and resistance. So I'm going to explain what that is in just a second. I just want you guys to grasp the idea of the two candlesticks first, and then I'm going to get into the key level. So one candlestick pullback is not going to be considered a lower high. So if I were to mark off this market structure here, I would count it like this. This one, I would have to argue with it a little bit, and I'll explain why later. But this is what this market structure would look like for me. So if we switch to the line chart, you notice that I technically missed this point right here. I technically missed this point right here. And I technically missed this point right here. So on the line chart, I missed 1, 2, and 3. If we go back to the candlesticks, I missed that point, and that point. So if you notice, there is more logic behind the structure when you look at it on the candlestick, because there's no way you're going to tell me you're going to count that as a point of structure. Like, dude, like there's just no way. It doesn't make any sense. And there's no way you're going to count that as a point of structure on the 1 hour. There's just no way. It doesn't make any sense. Now, if you go down to the 30-minute, which is the lower time frame, yeah, it looks more clean. But we're identifying this on the 1 hour. The 1 hour structure will forever be different than the 30 minutes, and the 30-minute will forever be different than the 15-minute. It's just how it works. So each structure is treated uniquely based off of the higher highs and the higher lows that it's creating. Currently, this market is bullish. This is the higher high, and this is the higher low. Now, the structure that I had before, this was the lower high, this was the lower low. This was the lower high, this was the lower low. We broke out, this becomes a higher high, and this becomes the higher low. So what we do with the candlesticks, the way we read the market structure on it, is we avoid the bullshit little structure that we can get lost with on the lower time frame, which could significantly, completely change the whole entire trade. Because if you read the market structure incorrectly, you're reading the direction of the market incorrectly. Reading the market structure is the most important thing that you have to do when analyzing and reading the markets. If everything up to so far makes sense, type 1. If not, type 2. Again, be patient when it comes to understanding it a little bit more. We're going to go through more examples. Don't you worry. If it makes sense, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2. Okay, if you have a question, this is your moment to ask it. Please ask questions relevant to this. JT, please stop spamming. I don't even understand your question. Mickey, I'm not going to answer your question about your JPY. We're not there right now. Stop spamming your question. So when we do a top down analysis, that's not what I'm asking. People just can't fucking understand basics. So you need a higher low to form a higher high when it's technically those with one candle. I don't understand. What is the different time frames of conflicting? I don't understand. The size of the candlestick on one candle of the structure. I don't understand either. Okay. I don't know. You guys are just spamming, but repeating the same thing. I can't. I can't. Because I literally can't read one. When the candlesticks are close to each other, how do you recognize if it's a higher, 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 low? I don't understand. So I get it. You don't understand. It's because it's probably your first time watching it. So this is probably where you can potentially be confused. I would not count this as a higher low. One, it's one candlestick. If you notice the rule that I mentioned, it needs to have a minimum of 2 candlesticks. I would not count this as a higher low because it's not too clean of 2 candlesticks, and I would not count this as a higher low. I would count this whole move as a one significant move. This is how I would read the structure on this market right here. Now, we're going to probably have to dedicate today's whole entire call on how to just do this correctly, because this is the most important thing. I don't mind pushing back everything else that we do, because I can't have people falling behind on this topic right here. This is literally the most important thing. So I'm not going to ask on questions right now. I'm going to just review it. I'm going to do a couple more examples, and then we'll get to the questions part, see if it makes sense. Okay, so this market, let me get a little bit more confusing one. Perfect. Is this market bullish or bearish? Please fill out the poll. Okay. Take your time. Okay, these are the results. 83% believe that this is bullish, and 17 believe that it's bearish. So I bet if I were to ask you on the line chart, this poll would probably change. Now, let me revisit this poll. Is this market bullish or is this market bearish? Okay. So really, surprisingly, nothing changed, which is a little bit confusing to me, and I have to figure this out. So there's a 16% of you guys that either did not watch yesterday's Zoom call fully or are simply don't understand. So I'm going to clarify this. This is not a structure point. It is practically impossible to put a higher high or a higher low right here. So if this were to be the lower high and this were to be the lower low and we body closed above, that's not the higher high, that's not the higher high, that's the higher high right there. This is the higher low. When you do the snake trick, this is not somewhere you can significantly do the turn because it clearly did not turn around there. You would have to keep going, and then this is where you significantly have a turn in the market. If that makes sense, please say yes or say no. This is how I'm gonna have to be doing it now because I can't keep up with the chat. People spam, people don't follow simple rules. Okay. So I'm glad I clarified that at this point. And it makes sense, which is great because it leads me to understand that we have a little bit of confusion is just right here. And the problem is if you're just simply not doing the snake trick. So these are the results. Now 99% understand it. There's 1% of trolls. And the snake trick is what's going to lead you to understand if it's a higher low or a lower high correctly or incorrectly. So the snake trick, when you do the head of the snake and you start doing the pullback, if there's not a minimum of 2 candlesticks that have reversed this market, the snake technically can't have the turn. If there's only 1 candlestick and this market was headed like that, and then fuck, how am I doing this shit? Okay, yeah. So if there's only 1 candlestick that basically stopped, so this market was heading to the upside and it just stopped with 1 red candlestick and then it decided to keep going up, this is not somewhere you can apply the snake trick because there's no reverse. Like the snake didn't really have to turn. Remember, the snake is coming this way. It didn't really have to turn to then continue to head to the upside. Here, the snake had to go, it had to shift its path, and then it had to continue going to the upside. So here, the snake is going, 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 going. It didn't have to turn at any point to continue going up. It just went through a little bumpy path, but it stayed going the same way. Where the snake trick would work is where the snake has to turn, 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 turn. Here would not turn. There's just one little bumpy road. Here it would just go. Here it would just go all the way down here. Here it would go, here it would turn. So I know it can be a little bit tricky because once again, it's your first time watching it, and I don't expect for you to get it immediately. And sadly, the market doesn't create perfect market structure. It creates what it creates, and we have to adapt to it. But it's very easy to grasp. So you just have to be patient with yourself because you have to learn this as time goes. So, and this goes to experienced traders as well. If you look at this on the candlesticks, on the actual bodies, this snake right here, if it were to start its course right here and it starts going down, 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 Here, this is a hard reversal for the snake. For right here, for the snake to continue to go to the upside, it would have not turned around. If you notice, it's just one candlestick. The snake needs at least two candlesticks to be able to have the reversal, so then it can have the push to go up. This is just one candlestick. So this snake was going down, and then from here, it just continued to go up. Now, this right here is a reversal for the snake. Clearly, it started having a pullback, and if this just shoots up, clearly these are the two candlesticks that created a significant change for it to continue going up. There's a very big difference in between how this market reversed here, how this market reversed here, and how this market reversed here. Yes, it did reverse, but it did not create the structure significantly enough for the snake to have to change its path to continue going to the upside. If everything here makes sense, say yes. If it doesn't, say no. Please, trolls, save it for a different moment, please. We'll make jokes later. For now, this is very important. Okay. Okay. So there's still 3%. Now I'm going to open up the chat. Please, guys, only ask me a question about this. Everybody else, it might have to get to the point where if you don't ask a question about this, I'm going to have to remove you for the class temporarily. Or I'm going to have to remove your option from you asking a question. It just makes it difficult to go through the topic. If you have a question about this and you're part of this 3% that does not understand, please ask your question now. If you don't, just hang on tight. We're getting through this. You said you need at least two candlesticks to count it as structure, but now you also counted one. So I counted one on the line chart. So I counted one here just to set the example. But on the actual market structure, I would not count this as the higher low. So that's the difference of looking at it on the line chart and the candlesticks. Just to confirm this is bullish. Yes. Hey, Alex, can you go to GBP-CHF? No, not 1 point have we gone there. Can you explain a bit more on the two candlesticks? Yes. What if one candle in between is very long? Once again, we'll get into a little bit more detail that in later. Must the two candlesticks be the same color? The color doesn't matter. What does this, why the small candlesticks, why the small candlesticks? I don't get it. Does the one candlestick rule count on all time frames? Yes. Just to be sure, wicks are not taken into account. At no point have we taken any wicks into account right now. It's simply just the bodies. To the point where I can literally almost go into the chart and just remove the wicks, literally just remove them all. And we just look at the bodies. But I don't want you guys to get confused and be like, oh, fuck. When we bring the wicks into play, you guys just get confused and like if you guys have never seen it before. So I'd rather leave it like this. I should be teaching it just to the bodies, but it'll affect how things will work later. But it's straight sauce. Took me 7 months to figure this out. Took me a very long time. Now, everything you do is on the candlesticks. All right, cool. So we're going to do another example. Perfect example right here. Euro AUD. So technically, this is the higher high. And now I would like to know, where do you guys think that the higher low is? Is the higher low at point number 1? Point number 2? for point number 3. Where is the higher low? I'm gonna do a quiz. Cannot watch the chat. Which one is it? 1, 2, or 3? Okay, great. That's exactly what I needed to see. 7% more to fill out the poll. Okay. 1, 2, or 3, 1, 2, or 3, 1, 2, or 3. Okay, perfect. These are the results. 79% chose number 2, 16% number 3, and 4% number 1. Now, if we start off with the snake trick and we come to this point right here and we start doing the reversal, do you guys think that this would be a point where the market had to turn and continue to go down? The answer is no. This market just swept right through that right there. This is a significant turn in the market. And obviously it would not be number 1 because we had the significant point way after this. So this is the most recent higher low. This was a higher low at one point once this was the higher high. When this market was like this, that was the higher low, that was the higher high. But then the market broke above this point right here, which makes this the higher high. And when you drive it back, that becomes the new higher low. So for me, number 1 is very clearly out of the equation. Now, it could be a little bit confusing understanding where the higher low is. So on the bodies, on the candlestick chart, this is the higher low. Now, if we were to look at this on the line chart, we would obviously be picking this as the higher low. So this is where I kind of had to mention to you guys, you learned when it breaks above or under the line is what's going to determine if it's bullish or bearish. But I needed you to unlearn that now because we're no longer going to be using the line chart for that. So this is not going to be based off of the candlesticks. And you need a minimum of a 2 candlestick pullback. So for the 16% of you guys that were incorrect, you guys probably didn't hear me the first time or the 5th time or the 10th time. You need a minimum of 2 candlesticks. This is only 1 candlestick. So this would not count as a pullback. So this is going to be the significant difference in understanding the correct structure point or not. If you notice, for example, this right here, this has 2 candlesticks of a pullback. This is correct. If you notice, this has 1 candlestick of a pullback. This is incorrect. If this makes sense right here, what we just explained, and for those of you that got it wrong and it makes sense, does it now make sense? Yes or no? Perfect. Again, it's going to take time for you to get this and for you to understand it and for you to really see it. So I'm going to have to go through plenty of more examples just for you guys to really inside get it. Okay. So these are the results. So we have 97% yes and 3% no. We'll do one more example. So let's do, for example, oh, is that I would have to explain the next step for this to even make sense. So let me see how I do this. Let me think. Let me think. Because it's kind of trick. This is literally the only tricky part because I have to teach you to learn something and then I have to teach you to unlearn it and then learn it again. To then unlearn it again. Yeah, I think we could do that. Yeah, we gotta do it in this one. Okay, so we get comfortable. Okay, so we have to now. Let's see how I explain this. I gotta be very careful what I say because, like, what you guys hear for the first time, you guys take it to like that's your first memory of it. So I'm gonna move now a little bit advanced, and I just want to cover this so we can get into the next point of understanding how to read the market structure correctly. Because in order for you to read the market structure correctly, you need to understand how to correctly read if it's at a key level or not. Where did I put the freaking thing? I think it was CAD JPY, AUD. Did I fucking delete it? Whatever. We'll do it here. Does anybody know where I put the note? The minimum, you need a minimum of 2 candlesticks. Euro JPY. GBP entity. Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, thank you guys. All right, so you need a minimum of 2 candlesticks, right? This is all gonna make so much sense right now, and I'm gonna literally do this right now. So you need a minimum of 2 valid candlesticks to understand if it's a higher low or lower high. Now, if these 2 candlesticks aren't enough, you're gonna need to find a key area of interest on this higher low or lower high. What is a key area of interest? Very easy. So I just taught you I had to explain to you to unlearn the line chart and forget about it, never use it again in your life. But we got to bring it back. So it's just for this example so you guys understand it to the get-go right now, right? Let me actually do another one. So we've established that a key area of interest is a level that has support and it has resistance. It's a very key area of support and resistance. So, for example, let me just write it down here. A key area of interest equals minimum 3 touches from the resistance or support. So a key area of interest is going to be a zone that has minimum 3 touches. Did I delete it? Jesus, I never wrote down. A key area of interest is going to be a zone where you have minimum 3 touches from support or resistance. You either have 1, 2, and 3, making this a valid area of interest that is to be used now in the live price. Or you can have this one right here where you have 1, 2, and then 3, which is valid as well. Or you can use these points right here. 1, 2, and 3. The more you have, the better. The more key and the more respected this spot is. Let's say you have something like this that only has 1 and then 2. This is not a key level or support or resistance. Even if this one is very close to it, if it's not clear, it is not a key level of support or resistance. It has to be very clear that it is support and resistance. That is clear. Even a little bit above is clear. This is again to the bodies. So you want to make sure these key levels are to the bodies of the candlestick. So a little bit above is fine. A little bit under is fine. But if it's very significant like this, it is not a key level if it does not have 3 touches. If you have an area like this, where you have 1, 2, and that is it, this is not a key level. You need to have a minimum of 3, so it becomes a key level. 1, 2, 3. It could be 3 resistance. It could be 2 support and 1 resistance. It can be 3 resistance and 25 support. It doesn't matter. You just need a minimum of 3. The more, the better. Now, does this make sense? Yes or no? Now, this is what a key level is. Okay. Okay. So to me, this is 100%, right? Let me just see who has a question. Please ask a question regarding just this key area of interest. Make it fast, just so we can move on and stay hot on the topic. Which time frames on every fucking time frame? Body candlestick closes, yes. So you only mark the bodies. I believe I already said that. So if we only have 3 touches, do we buy or sell? Toma, when the fuck are we talking about buying or sell right now? How far back do you go? I'm gonna explain that in just a second. Can you have 2 resistance and 1 support? Does that make 3? Roman, that's what I just said. Jesus. We don't count the wick for this. Never. Okay, perfect. Makes sense. So let me ask you a question. Is this a key level of support? Oh, and by the way, this is the results. So is this a key level of support and resistance? This specific line right here. Is this a key level of support and resistance? Yes or no? Wow. Okay. It's gonna drives me plenty of curiosity to understand this poll. And I'm glad you guys can see what I see. Okay. So 79% believe that, yes, this is a key level. 21% believes that it is not a key level. Okay. A key level needs a minimum of 3 touches. If we start from this point right here, we have 1 touch. If we go to here and we don't count this one, we have 2 touches. If we go to this level, we have 3 touches. And if we want to be even a little bit more picky, we got 4. Now, is there something that you did not see? Is it just not clear? How can you not understand that there's 3 touches there? Maybe it was your first time looking at a real line chart example. Okay, let's take it somewhere else. Is this a key level? Yes or no? Take your time. Take your time. Yes or no? Okay. Okay. So 70%, no, 95% believe that it is a key level. 5% don't. So for the 5% that don't believe that this is a key level, this is 1 point. This, if you just keep going through this right here, this is not a point because clearly it broke through. Keep going through here. There's no valid rejection point from here. So it just went through. This indeed is a key point. We keep it going. Even if you don't want to count this one, you have this one right here. And you have this one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's clearly an area of interest here. Whenever we're under this zone, we tend to head to the downside. When we're above this zone, we tend to head up. When we're above, we go up. When we're under, we go down. That's what makes it a key level. Let's go with another example. Let's go more down here. Is this a key level? Yes or no? Take your time. So for me now, like I understand that there's like, I don't know, so sore. Okay. So 95% say yes and 5% say no. So I want to understand what is not clear for the 5%. And I know, again, I'm sorry to the 95% that I'm slowing down, is that this is very important. And these 5% are the ones that kind of hold everything back. So let me see right here. So if you notice, this is key level number 1. This is key level number 2, key level number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. I mean, structure point, and number 7. Now, it cannot get any more clear than that. So, to my understanding, it is very clear that you guys understand what is a key level. If you don't, please ask a question. If you do, just hang tight. Please ask your question about the key level really fast. What time frame is the key level on? On every time frame. regarding the area of interest, from which point should I search for the valid area of interest on? Dude, this question doesn't even make sense. Alex got the best patience I've ever seen. Oh, dude, you have no idea. Okay, so to my understanding, everybody understands. For the 5% that don't, I'm going to take it as a troll. So I'm going to now show you how to do this next point. So now you understand the simplicity of a key point, right? How to spot it. So let's go back to our significant area of over here. Which one was it? Was it this one? 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 Fuck, which one? Which was the example? Oh, I think it was this one. Yes, it was this one. All right, so now some of you guys may get confused if you were to want to count this as a higher low or not. Because let's just say for whatever reason, the two candlesticks being very clean is not enough. So for you to have a valid higher low or lower high, you need 1, 2 clean candlesticks. And 2, you need a clean higher low at a area of interest. So what do I mean by this area of interest? An area of interest has a minimum of 3 touches. So if you want to count this as a higher low, so that means that you would count this as a higher low like this, but you have some confusion. Fuck, bro, I hate when the fucking text isn't safe. If for whatever reason you have some confusion because there's 2 candlesticks and it's clean, take it to the area of interest. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a line. You're going to put it at the bottom of that higher low. You're going to get a line and you're going to put it at that candlestick body. And what you're going to do is you're going to literally look left. Don't go more than a month or two, especially if you're on the lower time frame. And if you have a minimum of 3 key point touches, then this is a valid higher low. So let's look to the left. Let's take this to the left. We go left, go left, go left, go left, go left. So right here, we kind of have some. To be noticed, we're on October 3rd. It's November 1st, 14th. So it's about already a month. Let's go a little bit more back to the left. And about another month in, we have another tap here, another tap here. And we go a little bit more than 2 months and we have some type of stuff going on here. So if this were to have 2 candlesticks, I would count this as a valid higher low. Since it does not have 2 candlesticks, it cannot even qualify to go to the next step. Because remember, step 1 is 2 candlesticks. And then 2, if not clean enough, then apply area of interest search to find if it is a key point or not. And for this, you can't go back more than 1 to 2 months, depending on the time frame. This is subject to change. All right, so before you bombard me with questions, let's go to another example. And we're going to bring this shit with me. Nope, that's not what I wanted to copy. For example, right here. Let's say that you would count this as your higher high because it's very clear, but you don't know if to put your higher low at this point, or if you'd want to put your higher low at this point, or if you'd want to put your higher low at this point. All right, cool. Let's start breaking down the first thing. So the first thing is bing. I fucking Lost it again. Here it is. So our first thing is going to be 2 candlesticks. Okay. This is where the head of the snake is. We're going to start working down. Okay, this can be the first stop. First thing, do we have 2 candlesticks? Yeah, we do. But you know what? These 2 candlesticks aren't that clear. So if they're not that clean, then apply the area of interest search. Okay, got a little line, put it at the bottom of it, and then we'll go left. All right, cool. We have 1 tab going on here. We have 2 tabs going on here. We can only go back about a month or 2, depending on the time frame that we are, and this is subject to change. So based off of the time frame, when we start checking off the checklist, part of the checklist, I'm going to give you, if you want to find a area of interest on the potential high or low on the 1 hour, don't go back more than 2 months. If you're having that struggle on the 4 hour, don't go back more than 5 months. If you're on the daily, don't go back more than a year. So I'm going to write all that down for you when we get to that point later on. So as of right now, we're trying to find more than 3 points at this right here. So we kind of have 1 going on here. We have another going on here. So we just need 1 more, and this technically would be considered the higher low. Keep it going to the left. Keep it going to the left. So already about a month in. Keep it going to the left. And we're already at the 1 month mark. Keep it going. We're already at the 2 month mark. There's no more than 3 points. This is not a valid area of interest because the 2 candlesticks, not only are they not super clean, but when you do the area of interest search and you go back 1 to 2 months, you can't apply the area of interest because there's only 2 tabs. So this is not a valid high or low because it does not pass the second test, finding an area of interest. Now I have a question for you. Does this make sense? Yes or no? Please fill out the poll. My head hurts from wearing this fucking hat. Okay, cool. So we have about 96% say yes. 4% say no. I believe it's the same 4%. And I hope to clarify this on the next point. So if this is not the high or low, that's out of the equation because there's not more than 3 touches. So then we just keep it going down. So area of interest 1 for the snake trick. Clearly, this is not enough for it to have the sharp turn to create that. So we keep it going. The snake continues to go down, go down, go down, go down, go down. Oh, we're here. All right. What is needed to have a valid high or low? The first thing is you need 2 candlesticks. This right here is only 1. Having 1 inch is very different from having 2 extra inches. Let me tell you right now. If you have 1 extra inch, you're all right. But let me tell you something. If you got 2 extra inches, you're all right. Okay. So this is only 1. So you're not the guy right now. So this is already not a key high or low, and you don't even qualify to go to the next step because the next step is only if the 2 candlesticks are not clean enough. So this gets removed, and then we continue going with the snake. Continue going, pass by the 2 fake candlesticks that aren't valid, pass by the 1 incher that is not enough, and then we get to here where it clearly has the reverse. So the higher low in this market would be at this point right here. See how easy it is? Now, I have a question for you. Does this make sense? Yes or no? And trust me, with due time, you're going to be able to spot without having to do everything we just did, a 1-incher and a fake 2 candlesticks. It's just a matter of time. Something that I asked at the beginning of the class. We might have forgotten, but I'm here to remind you. Don't worry. All right, so these stats are absolutely phenomenal. 98% claim that this does make sense, and 2% claim that they don't. If you're part of that 2%, you're probably just trolling. Or if it doesn't make sense truly, then you just need to see this again and again and again, multiple different times. So this is now understood. But we're not going to stop there. What are we? Oh, this is where things will get tricky. Let's go to an example like this. Okay. Let's start off by the first one. Take your time, look at this market. Take your time and look at this market. Is this market bullish or is it bearish? Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Now, is it bullish or is it bearish? Okay. And once again, everybody is wrong. Once again. Oh, I wonder how you guys look, dude. Like, I bet one of you guys right now are just like in your room by yourself watching this. And I'm just looking at myself do this. All right. 20% more. Come on, you guys are filling out this poll slow. Are we bullish or are we bearish? And these are the things that are going to make it very, very, very easy for you guys to catch on to your mistakes. And don't worry, I'm going to give you guys a step-by-step how to do all this. First, I got to teach you how it works. And then I'm going to teach you how I do it. So the step-by-steps come after you just learn the standard of how it works. So don't even worry. I'm going to give you a full step-by-step guide on how to approach this correctly. Just one thing at a time, guys. So these are the results. 20% claim it's bullish and 78% claim it's bearish. The people that say that it's bullish are wrong. And I would want to know why you think that. And the people that think that it's bearish, you're wrong as well. Because you don't know that this is bearish because of this lower high here and this lower low. So if you think that this is bearish because of this lower high and this lower low, you're wrong. This market is bearish because of this lower high and because of this lower low. So this is the importance of looking at the markets correctly. So I strategically zoomed you guys in and only made you focus on this. When what I just taught you was to zoom out, get the full market in front of you and get a full feel for everything. And here you would notice that this market is bearish because of this structure, not because of this one. This is very key and very important you catch on to these mistakes. And part of the checklist I'm going to give you is the correct way on how to look at the market. You have to, I'm going to remind, like the step-by-step shit is literally going to be like step 1, sit down in the chair. Step 2, unlock computer. Step 3, open trading view. Step 4, like it's going to literally be a step-by-step shit. Step 10, whatever, zoom out of the market. Step 5, zoom back in. It's going to be a very long step by step, and you're going to see, and over time, you're going to do it like second nature, but have that peace of mind. So for those of you guys that made a mistake, I hope you caught on to it. This is very key and very important. Now, back to the example that we were just doing, which is, shit, I lost it again. This right here. Where were we at? We're in the 1 hour. Okay. Let's say for whatever reason you are confused if this is a higher low or lower high or whatever. This is definitely the lower low. So this is the bottom of the snake. Start going back. Boom. Is this where the market had a move to then go up? Well, let's see. Step one, 2 candlesticks. We don't have 2 candlesticks. It does not apply. It is not even clean enough to apply for the second step. If all this makes sense, say yes. If it does not, please say no. It's crazy, right? Oh shit, I said bullish or bearish. I fucked up. But my bad. Wrong poll. Wrong poll. I take full responsibility there. Does this make sense? Yes or no? Amazing. I love to see it. Amazing. These are the stats. Now, if you have any questions on this right now, please ask it now. Please don't get ahead of yourself. Don't want to ask questions for the future. I will probably kick you out because it just slows me down. I have to read it. And after I read it, I realize this is a question for the future. My brain has a little glitch. Then I have to unread what I just read and pretend like the bottom, So please, if you have a question regarding how to correctly spot a higher low or lower high in the market, ask it. If you don't, just hang tight. And please don't spam your question. What if we have one long candlestick? Okay, so I'm just going to turn off the chat and just find an example of that, of one long candlesticks. So, for example, this one. This is a perfect example of us being bullish, right? For example, let's just say for example's purposes, we're looking at this market from right here, right? Obviously, this would be the higher low, and then this would be the higher high. But let's disregard that. Let's look at this as the lower high, and let's look at this as the lower low, right? Which, by the way, this is a valid question. Lower high, lower low. We body candlestick closed above. Now this becomes the higher high, and this now becomes the higher low. So if you notice, we broke through everything with one candlestick. So obviously, this becomes the lower low. Like the market, like literally the head of the snake literally just fucking snapped in half. That shit just went boom. Very clearly it did that. And if you look to the right, then it started to reverse. There's a clear path on where the snake could be going. If there's a one candlestick pullback like this, it's obviously not a clear path. Like the snake can easily just go right over that. But the snake could not go like this to get to this point. Clearly, in order for it to get there, it had to have gone down here to then go up here. Clearly. So in examples like this, which are very rare, the 2 candlesticks don't apply because the 2 candlesticks apply when it's not a clear structure move. So here, this is a clear structure move. You're not going to count that there's 4 candlesticks. Or here, you're not going to count that there's only, for example, like it just looks clean. The 2 candlesticks rule and all this applies when it's not a clear example. If this makes sense, say yes. If it doesn't, say no. Thank you very much for running things super smooth. Trust me, I'm doing my best. Can you show another example? I'll do it right now. Okay, so these are the results. So very clearly, it makes sense. Now, what other questions do you guys have regarding this? JT, I think you don't know how to speak English correctly, and I mean that respectfully. Just the way you're wording your question, I don't understand. Jeremy Martin, you've spammed the same fucking question, and I don't know how to answer it. I don't even know what you're talking about. Stop spamming your question, Jeremy. Thank you. So step one, candlestick. Steps two, yes. So again, what's going to make this very key for you guys is going to be the examples and watching this again and again and again and again and again. When you explain the two candlesticks, does it matter the color? I believe I've said no already, but I'll say it once again. It does not matter the color. Thank you for showing us what real patience is. Yeah, I'm not even ready to teach that yet. But yeah, I guess my patience teaching shows you guys the patience that I have for trading. Cool. So let's go to a bit more challenging. For example, here, are we bullish or are we bearish? Are we bullish or are we bearish? Wow, this is fucking crazy. Fuck. Uh, okay, take your time, guys. Jesus. Yeah, I'm so glad I finished the 100 to the mill series. And this is the only thing I have to think about. Because if I had to do the 100 to the mill and this at the same time, my God. So this right here leads me to understand that we are not ready to move on. So I asked you guys, are we bullish or are we bearish? These are the results. We are not supposed to be 50-50. We're supposed to be 90-10, 85-15. The majority of us should be in the same direction. Now, there's clearly some confusion. So I'm going to be here to refresh that. So is this market bullish or bearish? Well, let's find out. Let's start off from this point right here. This is very clearly the lower high. This is very clearly the lower low. We body candlestick closed under. Now, this is where we are no longer bullish. So does this become the lower low? Potentially, and then this becomes the lower high. Now this becomes a new lower low. And does this become the lower high? Well, before this even becoming the lower low, so let's say we're here right now, and this is the lower high, and this is the lower low. When we have this break, we are actively moving this with the market when it's going live. So is this the new lower low, or is it this one, or is it this one, or is it this one? Well, if this is a lower low, there has to be a lower high. But this is the lower high, and this continues to go down, down, down. But was this even the valid lower low to even start with? Well, there has to be a valid lower high at this point. So is there two candlestick pullbacks? Kinda. But you know what? It's not that clean. So let's get our trusty horizontal line and let's look to the left. So we have one structure point right here. We keep going to the left, keep going to the left, keep going to the left. We're about a month in already. If you notice, price is nowhere even near here. It's all the way up here. Keep going to the left, keep going to the left. And we're about 2 months in. If you notice, price is all the way up there, nowhere near here. So this right here will not count as a valid lower high because one, fine, it does have 2 candlesticks, but it's not that clean. And since it's not that clean, we try and find a key level at this spot, because if this is created at a key level, then it becomes a valid point. There's no 3 touches, so it's not a key level. So this lower low continues to go to this point right here. This is the lower high. This is the lower low. We then body candlestick close under, lower low. Then this becomes the lower high. We body close above. Let's just put it here for simple example. This becomes the higher low. We body candlestick close under. This becomes the lower low. This becomes a lower high. We body candlestick close above. Okay, now we're bullish. Where's the higher low? Is it this point or is it this point? We need a minimum of 2 candlestick pullback, and clearly this is not 2 candlesticks. This is just 1. So this is the higher low and this is the higher high. But just for argument's sake, does this level have 3 points at this level? So for argument's sake, we can say we have 1 here, and if you want to be that guy, put 2 here, but definitely not 3, because this right here are just wicks. And we've already proven that when we go all the way left, we can go back for nearly 6 months. Price is nowhere near here. So there's not a third touch, not making this area a valid higher low. If everything up to this point makes sense, say yes, or say no before I continue to go. All right, you guys should be following along and everything should be making sense. Amazing. Amazing. So since everything is making sense, these are the results. 99% are getting it, and the 1% of trolls are minimizing, which is amazing. Thank you guys. So you guys are understanding. So now, since we have a break under this, is this the lower low on this one candlestick? We did the same example over here. So this is definitely not a lower high. So we keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Boom, the market stops here. This is a lower low, decides to have a retracement, and then boom, new lower low. So this remains now the lower high. And this is the lower low. Body then candlestick closes under. So we start moving this with the market until we do something like this. Okay, lower low, then the lower high goes to this point right here. And the market had 1 candlestick pullback, but we have 2, 3 stopping here. Is it a valid level? Is it not? It literally does not affect or change or matter for this example, but you have 1 candlestick pullback, 2 doesn't really, well, let's say it is or it isn't. If this is the lower high, because at the end of the day, this is going to be the lower low. All right, let's just make that very clear. This is going to be the lower low, and this is going to be the lower high. If the lower high is here or here, it doesn't fucking matter. The market broke above it no matter what. So a lot of you guys will break your head trying to perfect which one it is as a beginner, and the outcome is going to be the same. The market broke above the lower high if it was here or if it was here. What matters now is that this is the new higher high. Since this is the new higher high, we have to figure out where in the fuck is the higher low. So is the higher low at point number 1, or is the higher low at point number 2? Okay, if we do the snake trick, we start off with the head up here. We start going back down. we've already established that one candlestick pullback is not enough. We need a minimum of 2 candlesticks. So this one candlestick pullback is not going to be the higher low. And even if you want to consider 2 and you look to the left, we've already established that 2 months back, there's no price action. So clearly you cannot count this as a higher low. The higher low would remain this point right here, making this market as of right now bullish. You guys see it now? Now, does this make sense? Yes or no? Okay. So for the 45 or damn near 50% that thought this was bearish, I want you to ask yourself, why? Why did you think it was bearish? Because you thought this was the higher low? Well, because now it clearly makes sense, right? So 97% said now it makes sense. 3% said no, which is probably the trolls. What changed from when you analyzed it to I analyzing it? Besides the elephant in the room that I analyzed it and you analyzed it, obviously. But there's nothing that I use differently from what I have taught you on how I just analyzed it. I analyzed it with the same 2 lines and the same theories that I have just been teaching you for the last 2 hours on how to spot if it's a correct higher low or not. What did you not use from there? What did you not grasp? Is what I want you to realize the mistake you did. And when I just broke it down right now, I want you to catch on to it and be like, damn, that was it. Which my guess could be that you thought that this was the higher low. But if I've already explained to you how to correctly identify if it's the higher low or not, you need 2 candlesticks. There's clearly no 2 candlesticks. So it's already out of the equation. Why is it even an option? This remains the higher low. So this market is bullish or bearish. Does that make sense? Type, not type. Does this make sense? Yes or no? Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Patience, huh? I told you guys, this is gonna be like the trickier call. I'm telling you, as soon as we understand this market structure, everything from this point on is a walk in the park. All right. So these are the results. Let's do it again. Okay, huh? Oh, Tony Montana, huh? Talk to me. What are we doing here? Is this market? I was like Russian. I can do a bunch of different accents, bro. I can do like a lot. Is this market bullish or bearish? Now, before you fill out the poll, I'm going to literally wait 35 seconds. Is it bullish or is it bearish? Take your time. Please fill out the poll. Take your time. Take your time. Okay? Now, Jesus. Jesus. Okay, you know what? We're getting better. All right? We're getting better. Okay? Sometimes my ass hurts from sitting down in these chairs. No diddy. You gotta say it nowadays, bro. You never know. Take your time. 16% left. Okay. These are the results. So we're getting better. Okay, a little bit better. Just a little bit, not that much. All right, just a little bit. 76% claim that it's bearish, and 24% claim that it's bullish. Okay. So if we start off, remember, first thing is zooming out. So I kind of tricked you guys a little bit and I had a little bit close. You have to zoom out a little bit more. See, there's some shit going on and clearly it's shit. And it went past that shit. So we're going to start off just by right here. Lower high and lower low. We understand that this cannot be the lower high because it needs to have a minimum of 2 candlesticks. So if this is a lower high and this is a lower low, this cannot be a structure, or this cannot be a lower low, and this cannot be a lower high because there's only 1 candlestick. It needs to have a minimum of 2. So we body closed above, making this the new higher high. Whether it's at this point or this point, it really doesn't matter. And this is the higher low. I'm sure that is very clear. Then this body closed above, making this the higher high. Now, where is the higher low? Is the higher low this one or is it this one? What only has 1 candlestick of a pullback. There's not 2 candlesticks, 2 candlesticks. So we cannot count this as a higher low. This is the higher low. We body candlestick closed under. Now, is this the lower low or is this the lower low? Well, ask yourself a question. Can this be a lower high? Clearly not, because it only has 1 wick as a pullback. So this would be the lower low, and this would be the lower high. Because you can't put the lower high on that 1 candlestick. If you would, then yeah, then this would, change. But you can't. So this is the lower high, and this is the lower low. This market is actively currently still bearish. Now, for those of you guys that answered this incorrectly, does this make sense? Yes or no? And I want to know what the fuck you did wrong. Did you again put the lower high on the 1 candlestick, or what did you do wrong? I just want to know so I can get you cross that hurdle and get you to the point where now you understand and you're no longer making this mistake. So if you'd be kind enough, because as of right now everybody makes sense. So it's the same thing as the last one. It makes sense after I explain it, but when I explain it, I don't use something that I did not already use with you. So what are you having trouble with? Is it just reading the 1 candlestick? Just so I can understand. Please type it in the chat. People aren't taking the time. It's probably the other one, including myself. Okay. I counted the wicks. Why are you counting the wicks? We have not even talked about the word wick. We don't have the lines. Okay, fair enough. I need more time to look at it. I clicked the wrong button. Okay. I think everybody's getting it wrong is because they're not think. Okay, yeah. So I understand correctly, if the candlestick gives you a clean structure and 2 candlesticks, the rule does not apply. Correct. If it has clean structure like this or like this, the 2 candlesticks does not apply. That's what I said earlier, but sure. I know it's painful and we're going to move on, but we're almost done. Okay, let's do one last example. Last thing I need is for it to be 50-50 again, because then we haven't technically done anything. Is this market bullish or bearish? Take your time. I'm gonna literally give it 1 full minute. Are we bullish or are we bearish? Please fill out the poll. Oh my God. No, so there's a problem here. And the problem is people need to watch the recording. That's just simply it. Because I can do so many examples, you know. 5% left. 3% left. Okay. So these are the results. 72% bullish and 28% bearish. So it seems like it's the same crowd that got it wrong on the last one as well. So I want to once again, and by the way, for those of you guys that have just short-term memory, not even long-term memory, just somewhat short-term memory, we did this already. We did this on which one was it? We did this one right here, basically. Like, let me get you the okay, yeah, we did it right here. We did this. If you look at it, it looks the fucking same. Like the confusion should be damn near close to none. Oh no, we did it right here. Like this market, 100% of you guys said that you understood it. And it is literally the same thing as this one. And now 30% of you guys said you got it incorrect. What is the difference? Why are you putting it incorrect? There's literally nothing different. I think the only thing that you're doing wrong is you're not taking your time and you're just overcomplicating it. Because I'm going to literally repeat myself on what I did here. It's literally the same thing. It's the same chart. It looks identical. This is the lower high. This is the lower low. We close under. This is the lower low. This is the lower high. We close above. This is the higher high. One candlestick cannot be the pullback. This is not the higher low. This is the higher low. This market is bullish. I think the only thing that is missing from you guys is going to be practice. So we don't keep dreading it. And, you know, I fucking sound like a broken record here. I think what we're going to have to do is cut it here because I could keep going for another 2 hours, just showing example after example after example after example after example. But I'm just going to literally be repeating myself, which is fine. I could do that, but I'd rather you go out there and you repeat it yourself. Watch this recording 2 times, 3 times. It's going to suck, but it's going to suck even more having to constantly hold these classes back because you guys just have to catch up to your eyes watching the market. Because as soon as we understand this, we're now going to start implementing area of interest. We're going to now start implementing round psychological level, entry, top-down analysis, take profit, stop loss. And you have to get this. So the moment you get this, everything else falls in place. If you want to be lazy and you slack on not watching this, you are literally going to not only hold everybody else back, but yourself. And it will get to the point where I will no longer answer. Well, I already avoid 90% of the questions, but I will no longer continue to make stops and drag everybody because everything that you need to know is inside of these recordings. You just have to watch them multiple times for you to be able to catch up to speed. Because you guys don't want to be here just to hear me repeat myself. Like you don't want to use up the 30 days of me repeating the same thing on 5 different calls. You would much rather have me go into deep analysis on how to use this strategy and you just watch a recording multiple times. You want to use the time with me to learn something new every single time, not constantly have to repeat something that you can watch on a recording and you can hear me repeat it. trust me, it's going to be a lot more effective for your growth and for you to optimize the time that you have with me in this 30-day bootcamp. And I suggest for you beginners that are being lazy or maybe expecting for me to do that, I'm not going to be doing that because I can't hold everybody else back that is now waiting to apply the set and forget part. Like now we're 2 days behind, which is fine because the days that we were going to have 30-minute sessions, now they've turned into an hour and a half sessions, which is okay. It's not a big deal. But I just need you guys to go and optimize the recording time and you optimize the time you have with me live here. If you don't get something because you just haven't seen it enough, go watch the recording. Don't expect for me to repeat myself for 5 days in a row because you just lost 5 days of the 30-day bootcamp with me. So if all this makes sense, put a 1 in the chat. If not, put a 2 in the chat. Sick. Perfect. Thank you guys. All right, so we're gonna wrap up whatever this day is on this right now. The other stuff we have to move it to tomorrow. Don't want to make this like a 3-hour session, and I don't want to move on until everybody's not on the same page. So I want you guys to go back and watch the recording. So quote of the day is go watch the recording. That's going to be the quote of the day. Go watch the recording. Literally, I have to. So everything that I had set up for today, we moved it for tomorrow. So tomorrow, I'm not going to make stops. I'm not going to make breaks. I don't have time for this shits. I'm going to literally only talk about what we're going to talk about tomorrow. So if you do not understand, go watch the damn recording. Damn, bro, I really wanted to talk about all this other shit today, dude. Alex says, bro, you look fried. I mean, bro, repeat yourself for 2 hours and tell me if you're not fried, you know? But that's fine. I'll do it. If you guys are liking the boot camp so far, put a W. If you're not, you don't have an option. You don't have an option to like it. Sick. Yeah, once again, I want to apologize just for delaying it 2 days now. But it's okay because I feel like it's good because it's good to constantly repeat it sometimes. Yes, it's gonna be uploaded probably in 3 to like 5 hours. Just takes a long time to download and upload, like I've said 100 fucking times in the past. Because you guys now go blow up support, this and that. Nothing. Guys, today was a bit of a delay day, but it is okay. We're going to now move everything to tomorrow. So make sure you come tomorrow ready. And if you're not, you're going to be left behind. I don't have time for the bullshit. I don't have time to be repeating myself. So come prepared for tomorrow and come ready. I'm not going to slow down the gas tomorrow. It's going to be 1 or 2 examples and we keep it fucking going. I don't have time to stay stuck on the same topic. So tomorrow we're turning it up. If you stay behind, too fucking bad. Go watch the recording. Everything that you need to know is in the recording. So appreciate you guys being here. Go watch the recording. Come prepared or don't come at all. Thank you guys very much for being part of another day inside of the 30-day bootcamp. Quote of the day, go watch the recording and make sure to set and motherfucking forget. Thank you guys for being here today. And I will see you guys tomorrow.